clarity, we will be recording this webinar. So can I just get a quick message in the chat? We're at the top of the hour. We'll be starting in a couple of moments' time. I want to know, can you A, hear me, B, see my face, and C, see my screen? I should want 3 yeses. Oh, good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. We're in good shape then. We can get started. Okay, so today's session, we're going to be talking about landing pages. This is part 2 of our landing page series. So this is 2 of 3. We'll come on to those in a moment. Just want to check who here was on the last session. Yeah, people saying yeah, excellent. Oh, and a few who weren't, so that's cool. So if you haven't seen it, we'll come on to that in a few moments' time. Don't worry about it. We can take care of it. Tanner says, I just saw the landing page for my first ever Invisible PPC client. Tanner, you might just be my favorite person today. So thank you. That's great to hear. Right. Michael has just hit something that is the reason we're doing this at this time of day. We do try and mix these things up a little bit. We're very conscious that we have an audience all around the world. And if we're not careful, it's very easy to fall into a time zone that's really, really good for some and terrible for others. Hence today we're mixing this up and we're doing it at, it's 10 o'clock my time. It's 5 o'clock on the East Coast in the US. And hopefully, Michael, you might be able to tell me, I think it's 11 a.m. in New Zealand. We've picked a time when our New Zealand crew and our Aussie crew hopefully can stay awake without the aid of too much caffeine. So that's why we mix these things up a bit. We do it deliberately to make it better for everybody. So today, we're going to dive into what we call a landing page teardown. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at some good ones, some bad ones, and this is a bit of a free-for-all. I have some that I want to share with you all, and we're going to do that through the course of this session. But also, we've been asking for input prior to the session of pages you'd like us to look at. If you want us to do something on this session, give me a page. We'll take a look at that one as well if we have time. So that's what we're going to do. So that said, first thing, just a reminder, we are recording. So there will be a recording of this available as quickly as we can get it done. Hopefully it will be out tomorrow. So here we go. Reminder from the last session, and I'm going to say this every time we have one of these conversations because it is so important. The most important thing, the biggest lever that we have to pull in an AdWords campaign is the landing page that we send the traffic to. It's the difference that makes the difference. You know, we can turn all our tricks, all our tools, and do everything we can in a campaign, and we can make gains. But we can do nothing faster and more efficiently than changing the landing page, because landing pages is ultimately what determines whether somebody buys, whether they become a lead or a prospect. The ad is only, you know, the way I always think it is, the ad delivers the prospect to the front door of your store. What they see when they walk through the door will determine whether or not they get their credit card out, go to the cash desk and make a purchase. If the store is the mess, or the landing page is the mess in this case, nobody's buying. So I'll keep beating the drum on this one because it's so important and it's so often overlooked. I said this last time, but again, a reminder. About 60% of our clients do not use a landing page, not through our choice. And Tom, we're just getting started. So that said, for those of you who don't know me, a quick reminder. So my name's Rob. I run this little show called Invisible PPC. We're a white label AdWords service provider, as you probably know already, and we're a Google Premier partner, as you would probably expect. We're actually a Google Channel Sales partner, which is for their top 1% of agencies in the world. But I don't have a badge for that, which is really annoying. If they had made a badge for that, I'd have a badge, I'd have caps, I'd wear it on t-shirts, anywhere, but they don't. So for now, we just have to make do with the recognition that we have it. And we spend about $2 million a month for our clients with our team. We're currently recruiting for our team as well, so we're always on the lookout for good talent right now because we're growing and need extra help so that we can do more for our agency partners. So, reminder, today we are on part 2. Last time, 2 weeks ago, we did a session on how to communicate the value of a landing page. It was all about demonstrating to a client how to sell a landing page. I'll show you where you can get the replay for that in a moment. But watch that because that was a very commercial session. That was very much, hey, Mr. Prospect, here's why you need one of these things. Here's why this matters. Here's why this is important. And I provided an ROI checker, an ROI calculator so that you could work out the value of a landing page when you're presenting it to a prospect. Quick check. And hopefully nobody's going to break my heart here. Has anybody used that landing page calculator either with a prospect or presented anything as a result of it? Anybody used it so far? I really hope somebody has. The chat box gets quiet, so I'll assume that's a no then. Okay, my heart is officially broken. Okay, so today, now a couple of people said they're going to, so that's near enough. So today we're going to do a landing page teardown, and what we're literally going to do is take some landing pages and we're going to get my feedback on them. I want your feedback on them. I want this to be interactive. Let's collectively learn how to pick apart a landing page, see what's good, see what's bad, work it out. And then 2 weeks' time, we're going to do a showcase where we're going to take a really strong landing page case study, show you how to present, show you how to sell it. So we're coming back to the commercial piece. So we've gone commercial, how to value and position a landing page. Now let's look at some technical stuff, how to spot a good one from a bad one. And then we're moving back to commercials. That's what we're doing. So that's the format of this, because ultimately I want to give you the skills to do this, to be able to go out and sell a landing page. Because personally, I don't think a website for an AdWords campaign should ever be sold without a landing page. Unless the website is astoundingly good, I don't think it should ever be sold because it's setting it up for not the best outcome for the client. And the reason we don't sell them all the time is because we're not brave enough sometimes in our sales process. And I want everybody to leave these 3 sessions knowing in their heart of hearts that they're doing the right thing for the right reasons for their prospects and their clients when they sell a landing page. It's not about making more money. That's a nice bonus. That's a side effect. The real effect is the client gets a better result and you have a happier, longer lasting client. So that's my kind of personal stance on these things. I think it's super important. For those of you who haven't seen it last time, you need a replay link. I will try and paste it into the chat for you, and because I've done it here. If you haven't seen it already, this is the replay of the last session. So I'm going to put it in the chat box now. If you haven't got it already, click that link now while it's in the chat, and it will get you in good shape. So that is the last session. We put it into YouTube that time. Stephen, I can see your question about landing page in terms of hosting. I will come back to it later. If I forget, remind me, retype it. I'm going to come back to it in a little bit if that's okay. But I'm not ignoring you. So if you haven't watched it already, watch that replay. Today, as I've said already, we want to look at the best, we want to look at the worst, I want to look at how to create a great one, what not to do, we're going to look at some tools, and we're going to look at our landing page checklist. Quick question, who here knows that Invisible PPC has a published landing page checklist that is accessible to each and every one of you? Who here knows that exists? The no's outweigh the yeses significantly. Well, that's one of the reasons we do this, because you can have it. And we've actually gone one step further than that, and I'll come to that later on for you. But rest assured, we're going to leave you in good shape with a landing page checklist. So hang around. It'll be towards the end of one of the things that we do. I'll give you that checklist. So, a reminder of importance. And if anybody thinks that I'm over-exaggerating when I talk about the power of landing pages, if you recall the stats from last week, I showed some pretty impressive stats in terms of how well landing pages convert. Take a look at this. This is a snapshot from a campaign that we took over. In the first 2 months, in the 2 months prior to us taking this campaign over, this column here, traffic was being run to their website. We took that campaign over, and yes, we made some changes to it, but the primary change we made was to put a landing page in place. Look at the impact that we had. Sure, we got more traffic, that's fine. We improved the click-through rate, fine. All we did was made it more efficient. So we're paying the same for a click, and we're buying more traffic just by being more efficient with click-through rates primarily. Look at the conversion change. We've only increased the number of clicks by 30%. The number of conversions is increased by 165. So if we allow 30% of that to be down to the increased volume of clicks, the rest is down to the landing page. Conversion rate jumped from 4% to 8%. I hope everybody gets the impact of that on the business. We literally, with spending the same amount per click, halved the cost per conversion and nearly trebled the number of leads in 2 months. I love seeing things like that because it's easy to think about the stats. Yay, we got great numbers, everybody's happy. But think about what that means if you're the business owner. If you're that business owner, without spending very much more on traffic, your business has the potential to triple overnight. Literally, you could literally triple your business. There are not many things you can do that can triple your business that quickly. And that's why it means so much to me when we look at things like this, because that's a real world impact. There'll be a person, a business owner with a family and with employees. I know they have a staff at that particular business who, as a result of that, can grow. And that's why if we sell an AdWords campaign and send traffic to a website which we know is not optimized, we've got to ask ourselves if we're doing the right thing. We've got to really believe hand in heart that we're doing the right thing for that client. Numbers like that suggest the right thing to do is sell the landing page. And that's one of the stories I love the most. So I'm makes me very happy. It makes me smile. You can probably tell by the tone of my voice. It makes me smile. So let's get into some teardowns then. Now, here's the deal with the teardowns. I'm going to go onto the page live. I'm going to have a look at the page. I'm going to encourage you to do the same. And I want all of us collectively to dive into chat to feed back what you see. I want to see what you see. I want to get your thoughts. I want to get your opinions as to what you like, what you don't like. So let's have a look. Brian, you've asked an awesome question. I will come back to that. So teardown number one. This is a page submitted by one of our partners who wants us to have a look at this one. I will say before we do this, none of the pages I'm about to show you are ours. So they're not ours. They're not clients in any way. So I'm not breaking any confidentiality here. We're deliberately showing things that are not our clients. So here's the first one. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can open the page yourself. I'll need to apologize to these guys because this may mess their analytics up tomorrow when they suddenly realize they've had a load of traffic come to their website from all over the world at 10:15 on a Thursday night as far as their time zone is concerned. So what do we know about this company? We know they're a plumber. They're a plumber based in London. The clue is in the name, West London Plumbing. So, before I give my comments on what I think, let's get everybody dive in the chat for 1 minute. Type in everything you can see on the page, scroll up, scroll down, hit the chat box with what you see, and we'll walk through it. Of course, it's also a sneaky opportunity for me to get a little drink. In fact, I have 2 drinks on the go. I have a cup of tea and I have a bottle of water. The tea's a little hot, actually. These comments are great, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We'll take another 30 seconds. Oh, by the way, if anybody can see it, can anybody see behind me? I have company this evening. Not butter. Way cooler than butter. I actually have 2 guests in the room with me. There you go. Rachel, I agree with you. R2D2 wins. Okay, so let's work through these comments. I'm just going to open this chat box up a little bit bigger so I can see it a bit better. Some great feedback, by the way, guys. So, first things first, let's take a positive comment first. It's actually quite nicely designed. If you look at the actual design of it, if I just scroll up and down, forget what's in there for a moment, but actually it's quite professionally produced. You know, the images are relatively good quality images. It's okay. Somebody's clearly thought about this when they've done it. So, I mean, my first comment is, I've seen a heck of a lot worse than this. But as people have said in the chat, the images are a bit washed out. You know, they're showing a whole kitchen image, for example, here when they're talking about the boiler, which is the thing sticking in this cupboard here. So why put a whole picture of a whole kitchen in rather than the thing you're actually talking about? And the first thing many people have commented on, which I completely agree with, the image is huge. I mean, I know we want a hero shot, and this top section here is called the hero shot on a website because it's how you engage, how you draw people in. But it's massive. I'm assuming that was done deliberately. So first comment is that image is huge and certainly would concern me too much. But one thing we do know is they've clearly got a phone number here. So having a phone number here that's clickable is good. It's twice. It's very, very clear. But as a couple of comments are made in here, it doesn't really give you a reason why you should call them. And it's gas safe. Gas safe is a UK thing. It means that they're registered, so it means they're approved to install gas appliances because you have to be approved in the UK. I feel this comment here about plumber. Oops, I've just clicked on a link by accident. Oops, what have I done here? Sorry. This message here, plumbers in West London. It's hardly the most exciting reason to engage, isn't it? I can see somebody here has put the comment that, you know, there's no real reason. Rachel, I can see Rachel, your comment here. No reason why we should choose them. And the only reason they appear to give above the fold on their prime piece of real estate is they are plumbers and they are in West London. It's really who cares kind of stuff. Really, really who cares kind of stuff. So I agree with all those comments. That's a crazy thing to do. Scroll down a little bit further. Now, one thing, if you look next line down, can we see here we've got these review comments here. So first thing you'll see is the reviews right underneath this big image. Now, I'm on my MacBook Pro, so I'm on a large Retina screen. That my display you're actually seeing is on my 27-inch monitor. These, to me, are very, very valuable. If I can get credibility and proof to back up that I am a company that is credible and worth calling, I want that without anybody having to scroll to see it. That wants to be up here, and it's buried below the fold. Unless somebody has the biggest monitor in the world, I've tried it on 2 different screens, it's below the fold. And it loses a majority of its impact by being there. So I couldn't see anybody's picked that one up, but that to me is a really important thing. I want that thing as high up the page as I possibly can get it. Ricardo says nothing's really targeted. You're right. If you look at the copy here, and Milan's made the same comment, it's really boring. Does everybody know the we test on the website, the we and you test? I've just seen loads of comments coming in here. Yep, so the we and you test, really, really simple. Really, really simple. Look at your website copy, count up the number of times you say we, and count up the number of times it says you or your. We is all about the business and talking about us. You or your is talking about the prospect. You should, in any good copy, be talking about the prospect far more than yourself. This language here is effectively naming themselves is a we comment, that's us. Each plumber, we at West London Plumbing, it's all about them. None of this is how they solve problems for their customers. It's not written for their prospects, it's written for themselves. So it's really frustrating, really, really frustrating. And you're right, the copy is completely boring. Who's gonna notice that copy or read it? I got bored after the first line. Yeah, Brian's counted 11 we's and 5 you's. I would suggest that's the wrong way round. So keep going down. What else do we know about it? We know they're gas certified, great, they legally have to be. We start talking about boiler installations down here, which is kind of a random shot in the dark. This page isn't particularly about boilers. And a bit about geography. And really far down this page, who struggled to find the customer reviews? Because I really struggled to find the customer reviews. In fact, when I first wrote up my comments on this page, I said there were no reviews, and it was only about the 3rd or 4th read through it, I actually noticed there were some there. So reviews are one of the most powerful things you can have on your page, and they're buried right below the bottom of this page. It's a really dumb thing to do. Same here. You know, these things here where they have really, really good trust marks up the page. Get them up the page. It's the place they should be. So although someone started here with something that's quite nice looking, it actually fails on a lot of levels. There's a lot of things that are wrong with this. There are comments here about the page from David about the landing page should be keyword specific. I suppose we're judging a little harshly because this is a home page rather than one of their product pages. But you're right, it's not keyword specific. It should sell a single product or service. And of course, it's a home page, so it doesn't. Yeah, there's no offer made. There's no call for special rates. There's no anything to engage or give a reason. One thing that it did do, it's worth checking, it is responsive, which is good to know. But look how terrible it looks when it's responsive. It shrinks down terribly. So it kind of works, but because the design's fundamentally not great. Well, you can't see that, can you? So if anybody's got this on their screen now, do what I just did that you couldn't see, which is to shrink down the screen just shrink the width of the screen and collapse it in, and you'll find that the responsive page isn't very good. Technically it works, but the experience is really, really poor. And what do we know about people searching for plumbing? A heck of a lot of people searching for a number of people searching for plumbing are going to be mostly on the phone. That's where they're going to be. They're going to be on the phone. So it's not the right experience. It's really not the right experience. The only thing that's good from a phone user's perspective is if when they see this link, they can click it and they should be good to go. So that's probably one of the strong points about it. These actually are clickable. If you click them on a mobile, they will call. So that's a win. So, yeah, lots and lots of good feedback on this. Yeah, no hot buttons, looks like a tiling company. No pain points. Great point in there from Michael. There isn't any pain addressed here, really, is there? Nothing like that. They've got some badges, but they're in the wrong place. No video reviews. Yeah, first thing you see is a navigation bar, which, because it's a homepage, which is going to be there, but doesn't help conversion rates. What else have we got on here that I've missed? So I can see a few technical questions coming in. And what I'm going to try and do is address all those technical questions at once. So what I want to do is I want to ask a couple of people to keep their question in mind, and I will come back to it. So Chris asks about separate hosting of landing pages. We'll come back to that. David says it's a homepage, not a landing page. And yes, it is a homepage, not a landing page. It was asked. We were asked to review this one, which is why we're reviewing it. I saw one more technical comment. Chris, again, comment about free landing pages. Keep that in mind. We'll come back to those kind of technical stuff in a little while. Let's go through some more pages. So that's West London Plumbing. Here's what I found with it. The good. It's designed properly to a degree. It's been done okay. It's got a prominent phone number. One thing I didn't show you, but I tested ahead of this course, I tested how fast it loads and ran some tests against it. I'll show you how to do that soon. And it loads quick, which is a big win. One of the worst things you can do with a landing page is design something beautiful and have it load slowly, especially on mobile. People will bounce in under 3 seconds. If your page is slow loading, you're in serious trouble. So whatever you do, make sure wherever you put your landing pages, that's why we use Unbounce, for example, they load quickly. So you can see some of my comments here as well. No, not again. No meaningful USP, reviews below the fold. It's dull. One thing I didn't notice, there's no personality in it at all. No personality. Trust marks at the bottom. It's terrible on mobile. And the text is actually quite hard to read. If you flick back to this, I think somebody else made the comment on it, just flicking back. It doesn't jump off the page with these big, wide columns, make it really hard to read these long sentences. And I got bored frequently and just gave up. So that's our thing. Guys, give me if you were to rate this page, 1 from 10, what would you give it? Oh, you guys are harsh. 3s, 5s, and 4s. A 2. Oh, Jim, brutal. Eric, a 7. Okay. Personally, I think about a 5. 4 or 5 is about the right kind of thing. Yeah, because we have to allow the fact it is a website page and not just a landing page here. So we are being slightly unfair. So let's move on to something that is properly a landing page. Again, this was submitted to us for review by one of our partners who I think is actually on this call. If you're around, just say hi. So I know you're here. So I'm doing this for you. This is a tree surgeon. So let's get their page up. Oops, what's the wrong one? What's this one? In the chat is page 2 for our review. So this is a tree emergency services for if you have a problem with a tree and you need something doing with it. This is a page. Now, just a quick reminder for this site, I think, was built by somebody on this call. So let's be nice when we're making comments about this one. There are some good things, there are some bad things about it, but let's try and avoid being too rude because I don't want to offend anybody. So 1 minute, give me your comments in the chat. Go. Barry's apologising. No apology needed, Barry. I'd go with the colour's pretty hideous too. I don't like the colour. I feel like I should have some hold music. "30 seconds, then we'll go again." I love reading these comments. These are terrific. Okay, let's dive in, guys, shall we? So I'm going to just go from the top on the comments and try and take some of the threads as we go through. Let's start in the header. There was a comment made that the header colour is not great, and I agree with that completely. That kind of really dark green. It may be a colour related to the business. It may be because it's green, therefore it's trees. I personally think it's a really kind of dull colour. And when you put this logo on here, which isn't particularly high resolution, I suspect this was what the business owner provided to the person building this page. But it's not very high quality. It's a bit blurry. It's not particularly modern. I mean, it looks like it was sort of a clip art job from a few years ago. That logo really doesn't sit well on that colour. And the logo itself is a problem and ought to be redone. So if we look at a very first impression, my first immediate reaction when I see that is, oh, that's a bit amateur. And whoever's built this has had a difficult job because they're starting with that. That's not easy for them. And it's missing. I would personally have loved to see the phone number up here. I know it's here, but I would love to see it up here. Partly because when you're putting it on a mobile phone, I want the person to be able to open their phone up and right immediately after the name, see the button to press to call the business. When you make this page responsive, if anybody's doing it, make the page responsive and see where the phone number goes down. You'll see it down the page. So that very first impression is not the best. This section here, let's look at some good stuff here because there is actually some really, really good stuff on this one. It's absolutely 100% clear what they do. It's 24-hour emergency tree services. It's fast. This reasonable rates could be better. It doesn't say anything that gives you an indication what that means. It's a bit vague, a bit non-specific. I'm not sure about the 30 years experience, but I like the clean, respectful, and professional. That's important. You want people to work with it good. So I kind of like some of that. I actually think that's quite nice. It doesn't give you any kind of compelling engaging reason. I can see the comments that people have made here that actually there's kind of no pain point or anything like that. I think they could have sold better here. I think they could have better copy about pain points, about emergencies, about, you know, trees can do damage, they can move, it can get worse. And the form, while again looking a little dated, is functional. It works. One suggestion actually in the chat is to take the name field off. Personally, I wouldn't. And the reason I wouldn't is that when somebody fills this out, I want to be able to call them and go, hi, Mike, hi, Jim, and then call them by name. If somebody isn't willing to give me their name when they've got a tree falling down in their yard, they're probably not a good prospect. My suspicion, and I don't know this page, is that phone calls will be far outperforming forms. Far outperforming forms. But I could be. I don't have data to back that up. But I think a name and a form like this makes perfect sense because it just makes the conversation more natural. I haven't put this through, so please don't submit it because I don't know who the client's going to be who ultimately will get this. This section here, we get the best reviews. Question: do you believe them? Someone said it hurt. Rachel, I love your comment that it hurts my eyes. I kind of know what you mean. Yeah, it's for somebody who says we get the best reviews, I would say they score a 1 out of 10 in convincing me that they get the best reviews. If you have the best reviews, I want to see several of them. I ideally want pictures of happy people. I want pictures of a finished job. I want before and after of, you know, a tree falling through a house and then the tree gone and everything fixed. I want it to be there. I mean, it's, as Mike says, it's unmissable, and I agree completely. They do a really good job in calling out the fact that they get the best reviews. They do a really terrible job in having the best reviews. And that's kind of a frustration. This piece here isn't clickable. If you click it, it just goes to a link to the image, which is, if you say, I'll do it now. That's not what you expect to happen. You expect to go to the websites there so you can see these good reviews they so proudly claim. So that, to me, is such a massive missed opportunity. When, again, what I would do is probably put the 5-star thing here and then deal with the reviews. And Mary makes a great comment. If you can, link to external reviews and pull them into your website, because it's even more validity. It's even more proof that you've not just selected the best 3, that you've only ever had 3 good ones and you're using them in the site. Yeah, Dave said it looks made up. It doesn't look believable because of the way they've gone about it, even if it's a great testimonial. So testimonials can be made much better if they are more specific, if they have photos, if they have pictures before and after. Anything that gives that credibility. Video will be brilliant, makes much more sense. Some great examples here, and nobody's commented on this bit, by the way, as to why these images, they feel a bit, and they're not stock photos, but they don't feel like great photos either. They don't, to me, they don't convey the purpose. They don't tell me why this is right, why it's good. What's the before? What's the after? What did they do to make this better? Because I struggle a little bit with the idea that up here we're talking about clean and respectful. What does clean and respectful mean in an environment when you're cutting down trees and you're working outdoors? I don't know. Show me. Show me how clean and respectful you are by demonstrating the after. So to me, these don't really add much value here. Anybody have any comments on this bottom section? Because I've got one comment on it. Yeah, Steve says the comments are not coming from a good professional photographer. Should be zoomed in closer. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, map's a bit big. Yeah, I get that. The thing that struck me is down here. They've put their phone numbers on and then said only use in emergencies. It's a kind of strange message to put on a website. A kind of don't call me. It's sort of, we don't want to talk to you. If you don't want to talk to them, don't put your phone numbers on the website. Have the free estimate line redirect out of hours or do something. But to say kind of don't talk to me, I just find a bit strange. Another thing that nobody has commented on. I don't think these help. If these reviews, and I haven't tried clicking this, but I'll try clicking it anyway. Here we go. You see, look at this. Look at this. We've got 27 reviews and they look good. I kind of want to go, why, 30-minute response time, 100% response rate. There's a part of me kind of wants to scream at this to say, look, they're hidden away over here, but they're actually really good. Get them on the page where people can see them. We don't need to just have this one best review when we've got all of this. I don't like these. I find this really distracting. I find it just unnecessary because we've got fighting for attention with links over here, chat down here, which doesn't appear to do anything anyway. Yeah, it's frustrating. So I think there are lots of opportunities to have massively improved this just by using what's there, because it seems that they have access to lots of good stuff. So I guess that's my perspective on this one. Let's come back to my summary. So again, let me get your scores, guys. 1 to 10. Bear in mind that was a landing page for a PPC campaign for emergency tree service. Yeah, I think you're about right. 6s, 5s, 3s. Yeah, it feels, it's not awful, but it could be so much better. Is my kind of view on it. So I put here the good. It's strong, clear offer. It's got a prominent phone number. It's clear and simple. It is mobile responsive. If you actually try shrinking the width down, you will see it responds quite well, although it pushes the phone number down. It loads okay. It's a couple of seconds load, but it's not perfect. The bad, I don't like the design could be stronger. We've got these competing messages, the testimonials, and the fact they have real testimonials elsewhere they could be using and aren't is just so frustrating. The don't call me message, and there's absolutely nothing there to credentialize them. If you looked at the last one, although they weren't using them very well, they had trust marks, they had review badges, they had accreditations. There is nothing here to indicate they're a legitimate business at all, and they could do with that. Yeah, no operating hours is my bad, actually. David's right, it's 24-hour service, so that's a fair comment. Somebody asked, did I get these pages off the web? No, I didn't. These were submitted by partners ahead of this call today that they wanted us to review specifically. So these aren't me just making this up and looking for these. These are real websites that people in the email when we sent out about this call said, please could you have a look at this and comment on it. That's why we're doing these. So one more. And this one is not a user submission. This is not from a partner of ours. David says the partners need to go and slap the owners upside the head. I love that. This is not one of ours. This is not submitted by a partner. This is number 3. Vacuum plumbing again by pure chance, actually. I'll put the link in the chat. Same as last time, guys. This is the last one of these we're going to do for a minute. Take 1 minute, dive into it. Start typing and go. This was, by the way, for emergency plumbing. this landing page. It is a real PPC landing page. There is real traffic going to this. Keep them coming in. Another 30 seconds, and we'll get going. Okay, let's get started. So I think we'd probably all agree, compared to the previous 2 pages that we've looked at, there's a step up in quality here. We've moved up in level. Now, it's not perfect, but there's certainly a lot more right than wrong on this page. So let's look at the center section, this header section first. The company's called Plumbing Force. This is one of their accreditations. It's quite an important accreditation. So they've put it up at the top. And that's, I know the font's a bit not great on that, and I get that. But that's the logo provided by the manufacturer. So the fact they've put one of their most important credentials at the top, I like, as is the fact the phone number is clickable, callable, straight at the top. So first 2 things, it's clean and it's easily actionable. Easily actionable. The second thing, though, that several people have commented and called out, and I agree with you completely, this is a PPC landing page. The first thing we've got here is navigation. If I was in their shoes, the first thing I would be doing is taking that navigation off, because it's just distracting, shouldn't be there, and I suspect will be hurting their conversion rates. They may have a reason for it, I don't know, but at least we have a call to action here with book online and book online repeated here. So we're getting quite a strong message. They want us to book online. Some people are saying they haven't got an opt-in. There isn't an opt-in here. They actually want you to make a booking or call. So you're either booking an engineer to come straight out, or you're making a call to get an engineer to come straight out. There's no difference between the 2. So there isn't an opt-in as such. If we look here, they've got a very, very clear headline. And it's clear that people are local, it's same day, and they're gas safe registered. So we're kind of building some credibility here in that it's going to be a local person, they are registered, and it'll be same day, and they have an emergency response. If you can get a plumber out in a 1-hour response in an emergency, that's a pretty good response. But I noticed several people commented here that these are a bit busy, these colours. And I kind of get that. I could be persuaded either way. One part of me says they're quite eye-catching, and so that all the key messages, local, same day, registered, 1-hour response. If you think about the key messages you want to get across, they're pretty strong messages to get across. I want to make sure they're getting across really quickly. And these 4 boxes call out some pretty important features very, very quickly indeed. So I like that. It might be something that you could play around with the colours, and it gets quite personal as to colours. My rule when it comes to colours and things like that, if it works, it's good. If it doesn't, it isn't. End of discussion. I kind of don't care beyond that. And I would test different variations because they put a lot of traffic to this page. But personally, I don't care. I want whichever gives me the bright answer. If pink with white spots gives me the best answer, that's my favourite colour. I generally don't care. So this section I really, really like a lot. I think there's things that could be better, but it gets a lot of things right. opinion divided on this kind of kitschy, cartoony figure? I don't know. A real person might be a better option. Superhero figure may work. It's hard to say. But what I do love is that above the fold, in a nice contrasting white after the dark, they've got their reviews. And if you click their reviews, you can see you can scroll them. I think that's terrific. I really, really like that a lot. The fact they're all there, I think, is really, really smart way to go. And it dates them as well. So I love that. And the fact it shows how recent they are. It's kind of like, yeah, I get that. That's really strong. What isn't so strong is the average is 3.82. So whoever's actually in charge of getting good reviews for this business is making their web guys' job harder, because the reviews could be better. I mean, 3.8, it's all okay. It's not great. I would probably be digging a little more into that if I was thinking about hiring them, because I want to know why people don't like them always. If we scroll down a bit further, this bit I think is okay, but it's a little bit redundant. It doesn't really do anything. Oh, the other thing just to say here, if you notice these, I'm pointing, I think that's kind of useless, isn't it? These little boxes and the arrow on them, to me, they look like they should be clickable. I kind of want to click them because there's an arrow pointing for me to click something. And when I click it, nothing happens. So there's a slight design conflict there that could be improved. This bit I don't think adds much value, apart from, again, there's a book online. I would, again, call it out in a different colour, make it stronger. But then we get into here, which I like this bit because it's actually a bit more human. If you look here, it shows their emergency service, just some regular routine stuff, shows some credentials, what you should look for a registered person, again, and another call to action, good. And then shows real engineers. One thing I love, if you can show real people, show the real person. Because it's just more personal. Providing you're not some kind of swamp monster and you're reasonably presentable, put a picture on there, make it human, start the relationship before the phone rings. I strongly believe if you can start a relationship before someone has ever spoken to you, just by the fact that they know that you're called Adam and you know that you're a sort of young guy with dark hair, if an Adam answers the phone or turns up at your house, you feel better about it. Give people points of reference. Give them human beings to engage with. And the bottom's okay. It's not very exciting. It's kind of okay. And as somebody's quite rightly called out, no, it's old, out-of-date copyright, 2015. Somebody's been very lazy and should have updated that a long time ago, because this is a national big spending company. That's lazy. So Colm, good shout, spotting that one. So if you shrink it down on a mobile, it will come out looking nice. If we come to the homepage, someone has just pointed me out that I haven't checked, but we'll check it anyway. There you go. It's the same page. They've not actually even improved it particularly for their landing page, which is why this is all here still. And that's why I think we could do better than this. I think most of this is really good. But I think there's ways, I don't care how good it is today, it could be better. They are definitely wasting money no matter how good it is. I've seen comments that we don't like that. And I agree. It's unusual to put "we're hiring" on a landing page. Does it create a sense of there's not enough people to do the job? It's just not a good thing for a landing page. Yeah, the asterisk about 1 to 3 hours isn't dealt with anywhere. The asterisk isn't referenced. So if you get the sense, my point in showing you all of these is this is, I mean, again, let's get the scores. Scores out of 10, guys. And we'll just wrap up on this one. 7, 6s. Yeah, I'm on the fence with this. I'm borderline 7.5, I think, is where I'd put this one. It's got a lot more right than wrong, but it could still do an awful lot better than it has. My quick summary: it's nice design, it's responsive, it's super clear. Don't like the navigation, don't like the reviews. Live chat might help them actually. Non-clickable icons, and we could go on. But the point is, you get this now. So that's 3 different kinds of pages, different design values, different production qualities, different services, but they all have common things in them because landing pages are pretty formulaic. Landing pages need to convey the same basic information every time. David says they all sucked. I think you're being harsh, David, but I don't think you're a million miles away. I think anybody with the right effort could do a better job than all 3 of these. So I'm kind of with you. So if you're going to build landing pages yourself, or you're going to have us build landing pages for you, first thing you're going to need is a landing page builder. If anybody asks you, and here's just a slight side tip, to build a landing page within their website, my rule is always say no. And it's for one really simple reason. If you build a landing page for somebody within their website and something else in their website breaks, it's your fault, regardless of whether or not it's your fault. I would never, ever touch a client's website unless they were paying extremely well, had full backup processes in place, had full code control processes in place, because to my mind, it's just really not a smart way to go. It leaves you open to a lot of liability. They'll all have different themes. They'll all have different structures. So I just do not touch client websites. The nearest I would get is if you have something like Unbounce or Lead Pages or ClickFunnels where they have a WordPress plugin where you can just install the plugin and link it to your Lead Pages or Unbounce or ClickFunnels page, I would consider that as okay. But 9 times out of 10, we would always want to build landing pages on a separate subdomain. Then there is 0 risk to the client website. So my starting point is always use a good builder. We use Unbounce. I could argue a case for any of them. They're all as much as a muchness. Convertri, by the way, is great from a point of view of it has a really fast mobile loading speeds, but its editor is really immature and it's not very good yet. Steve says he uses Optimized Press because it's a one-time charge. Yeah, Optimized Press is fine. I've seen Lead Pages mentioned. It doesn't matter. Pick the one that suits you best. So, other thing to do, and a great thing to do before, so people are commenting Builder or Elementor. It doesn't matter. I've got no strong opinion on all of them. I think they all have pros and cons. Pick one you like and use it. One thing I would always want to check, though, is how fast the pages actually load. So good thing to do, go to tools.pingdom.com. If anybody's tried that, try it on your own website, by the way. Tools.pingdom.com. Put your own website in there, see how fast it loads. Choose an appropriate location to test from, and it will just give you a load speed. Colin says, do we use Lead Pages? No, we don't. We use Unbounce. So, test page speeds. When you're speaking to a prospect, a great thing to know in advance is if their website loads slowly, you can guarantee that there is an immediate opportunity there because a slow loading page isn't going to work. Also, heat map it. One thing we didn't mention in any of those teardowns, apart from this very first one, if you recall, one of the first things I mentioned was these were off the page. If they had heat mapping on that page, they would have known there was a problem with scrolling. They would have known that was too big. So we often, on higher value, higher traffic pages will use Crazy Egg or something similar to heat map them, so we can see how people are actually using them. Again, if it was this one, you would almost certainly see people clicking these and getting frustrated if you were heat mapping them. And every time you run a heat map, it's an opportunity to make a page better. If on really low traffic sites, it doesn't make sense because there's just not enough data. But on bigger sites, it's always worth heat mapping. We've also here, and I'll give you the link now, on our help center, we have a landing page checklist. What we've done here for everybody on this call is we've made it a version of it that you can take a copy and you can brand as your own. So if you want to use a landing page checklist, you'll need to do File, make a copy, because this was only view only, you haven't got edit access to it. Make a copy, put it in your Google Drive, and you can brand it as your own, and you've got a 38-point landing page checklist. And it's a really good thing just to have in the back of your mind when you're talking to a prospect that you can use. So if you're thinking of them, if you're looking at their website, help yourself, download this, brand it as yours, and talk it through with prospects. It's a great way to say, okay, think about how you can use that to help your sales process. Say, I've already demonstrated to you, if you've used our ROI, our return, our landing page profitability calculator from last time, take that, use this in conjunction with it. Say, okay, let me look at what you've got already and how good it is, and let's run it through my checklist. So you can just sit and check it off, work through it. It's not intended to be, the most complicated thing in the world. It's intended to be something you could get through in 5 minutes. Just go down the page and check some boxes. So everybody on this call, help yourself to that. Use it. It's there for you to get value from. There's also a version buried in our help center. But for now, download a copy of this, put your own logo on it, and use it in your client contacts. And if you look around the internet, by the way, you'll find plenty of these kind of things. We've just built ours over a period of time based on everything we see on a day-to-day basis. There's plenty of different ones around as well. So, a reminder for anybody who wasn't on the call last time, we currently are giving away free landing pages. If you have a prospect who is not currently advertising on Google AdWords, or a client for other services, and you can bring them on as an AdWords client, we can build a landing page for you for free. And we would do it with our pleasure. So if it's a new AdWords account, just onboard them as normal, put the code free LP in landing page and the onboard form, and you've got a free landing page. Simple as that. We'll build it on bounce as we always do. And it will be built with our landing page checklist in mind, with all the things that we know work and all the things that we know already get great conversion rates for our clients. That's why we do it. That's why we're all here. And we want to help you as much as possible, which is why we're giving these away. We feel that it's not just about giving stuff away. It's about giving you the education, giving you the tools, giving you the backup to help you to sell them. Because I don't want you to give them away. I want you to get paid. Just because we can do it for free doesn't mean you shouldn't get paid. Why not? So that's all I have to tell you today, guys. That's it from me. Are there any questions that anybody wanted to ask that I haven't answered? We are 5 minutes over time, so I apologize for that. I'm a little late. But if there are any questions, I'm happy to stick around for a few minutes and answer as many questions as I possibly can. Let me just get that link for you. Oops. I need to just come out of here a second, guys. Sorry about that. A couple of people asking about 2018 agency partner guides. We are updating our agency partner guides. 2017 still applies. We've not changed anything yet, but we are bringing out some new stuff in the next month to 6 weeks-ish. When we're at a point when we do that, and you're going to love what we got coming, because we've got some cool stuff coming, then we'll release new partner guides with them as well. Let's just say we're taking everything that we already do and we're trying to make it better again. So John's question, I've got an old AdWords account suspended. If I create a new one, is that fine? Yes, it usually is fine. If it's one that was suspended years ago, you'll be absolutely fine. Create a new account and you shouldn't have an issue. I think many people got accounts suspended when they had a bit of a purge a few years ago. Eric says, what should we charge for a landing page? Eric, watch last time's session. Towards the end of the session, I'll put a link back in here again. I go all through pricing. Chris says, mention a separate subdomain for landing page. Is this a subdomain of the main website? Here's what I would do. So let's take this one as an example. The domain I would use would be something like a subdomain would be, I don't know, info, or better still, offer dot. That's how we'd do it. That way it still looks and feels like the client's main website. The domain remains the same, it's just a subdomain. Jimmy says, how long does it take to get a free landing page back? Normally 3 to 5 days, something like that. We turn them around pretty quickly. Colm, I'll follow up with you separately on Black Label if that's okay. That's probably outside the scope of this call. Right, great question. Stephen says, do we need access to the WordPress account? No, we don't. What you do need to do, and I'll show you the resource for this, if you go into our help center, what you need to do is create a domain record at their web domain registrar. Here you go. So this article here talks you through the whole process of doing it, and it points you also at unbounded links which provide specific instructions for certain types of web hosts. So if you go to that and then follow that to here, which is the unbounds page, and which again I'll put in chat for anybody who wants it, it will take you through step by step what you need to do. It's really simple. So here you can see all the different domain providers. Dead simple. One thing you will need though, just a thought, is that your client needs to know who they bought their domain from and who controls their DNS records, and they'll need to be able to log into it. Sometimes we run into a situation where a client will say, oh, my web guy did that for me 5 years ago. We don't speak anymore. And that's an issue. Chris, do we recommend Unbounce over WP Engine? Yeah, we do, because we don't use WP Engine, because we don't get involved with anything WordPress related. That's why we always build outside of WordPress and Unbounce. It's not there's anything wrong with WP Engine. It's a great platform. It's just not one that we use. Mike, yeah, Whois will show you who has the DNS record. It's just that some clients don't know the login details. So even if you say, hey, your website is registered with GoDaddy, can you log into your GoDaddy account and get the DNS record updated? They sometimes don't know who did that or when or how. So it's rare. I'm giving you the case which is the exception rather than norm. So yeah, the actual page lives on Unbound servers. So it doesn't live on the client servers. It lives on the Unbound servers. We pay for all the hosting cost of that. We pay for all the bandwidth cost of that. It's part of what we do. So it lives with on our Unbound server. And doing it that way, we find is really advantageous, because obviously Unbounce are a large company. They've got a lot of investment in making their servers efficient, making them load quickly. So doing it that way, we get all those advantages. The last thing you want is to put a page and it go on the client's website on their cheap hosting, and your beautiful page loads slowly. So doing it that way gives complete control on knowing that it's in a good managed environment, properly backed up, properly secured, and will work well. So if a client cancels a PPC campaign, then they can get a download of the page afterwards, but it's an unbound page. They can upload it to their own unbound page if they wish. In the free offer, they don't get that for 3 months, if I recall rightly. Let me just go back to the page and see. Part of us doing it for free is that we've made a stipulation that for the first 3 months they can't have it. Here we go. So yeah, landing pages remain our property for 90 days. After that, the client can have the page. But yeah, Mike, you can own the page, absolutely. Ricardo, you're showing with your name. I can see it and not listed as guest. Chris, great question. How do we answer the competitive advantage or USP of that versus a free landing page? A free landing page, let's just think this through. There's two elements here. There's where is it hosted and how well is it put together. So anybody can go to Wix or somewhere similar to that, and put together a web page for free. And I get that completely. Wix, in particular, I know has tracking limitations, and as a result of that, you cannot track properly. So in Wix, for example, you can't do phone number tracking. It just doesn't let you do it. You can't properly do AdWords tracking and remarketing in Wix. So there are limitations that make them less functional in terms of a platform. But also, the content and the construction, the design of the page is what makes a big difference here. We know how to design landing pages that convert frequently well over 20%. If they can do that themselves for Wix as a first-time web designer, good luck to them. Chris, you've talked about Instablock. I have no idea who Instablock are. I'll take a look, but I don't know anything about them. If you've got any information you can share, Chris, I'm happy to grab an email from you on that. Instablock, did you say? Elise, you shouldn't be getting a 404 error on that page. It's working absolutely fine. I've just clicked your link. Instablock, I don't know what that is. So, Chris, if you could perhaps just shoot an email at help, I'll put it in here. And I'll make sure that gets through to me, because I don't know anything about Instablock, and I'd love to know more particularly if they're going aggressively right now. Robert, if you've got a partner portal question, I will take that separately. Did you mean Instapage, Chris? Or did you mean Instablock? Yeah, Instapage is okay. Instapage is, yeah, here we go, Instablocks. Yeah, we've got clients that use Instapage, and because they've built their own landing pages. It's very little different from Unbounce. I've not seen any kind of great differences, and we drive a lot of traffic through Instapage. In fact, our biggest client. So here's one example I can give you. One of our biggest clients, for whom we spend about 40,000 a month on Google alone, plus several other platforms for them. We've just moved their highest trafficked page from Instapage to Unbounce. We took an identical page. Literally, the only change was it was on an Unbounce page rather than an Instapage. and we boosted the conversion rate by about 20% by that move. And the only difference was where it was hosted. They were designed exactly the same. And the reason, from as far as we can see, is the unbound pages were loading faster. So that's my only experience I can comment as far as Instapage is concerned. In terms of functionality, I'm sure it's really fine. I've been through their page builder and it's quite well done. It's quite well thought out. I've got no major positives or negatives. Okay, guys. Eric, if you follow up with me on email afterwards about your question, I'll come back to you directly on that one if we can. Other than that, guys, I hope you've had some value out of today's session. I hope if you aren't out there selling landing pages already, my message is really simple. Do yourself and your clients and your prospects a favor and go and sell them a landing page. I hope this has been a useful session. Quick session. It's been useful. Got value out of it? Cool. Glad you liked it, guys. Final reminder, 15th of February, back to the early slot, 12 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UK. Sorry to the guys in New Zealand and Australia. We're going to go through full blown out case study and give you some great takeaways from that one. That will complete this 3-webinar series on landing pages. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now, guys.